This is CS Enterprises, the only YouTube channel in the world where Jay Lafferty can still make the owner's heartbeat go.
It's Breaking the News with Des Clark.
Clark, and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. And this week we are coming to you from the heart of the Edinburgh International Festival Fringe. With me this week are some of the best acts currently gracing the city's stages. On my right, we have Jay Lafferty and Andrew Maxwell, and facing them are Connor Burns and Melanie Bracewell. In the news this week, Sir Rod Stewart wants the model railway that he's been building for 20 years to go on public display for charity after his death. The train enthusiast turns out through the years his rock star pals were really disappointed when Rod would invite them back to his to lay down some tracks and fool around with models. One of Britain's biggest tile suppliers, CTD Tiles, is on the brink of administration, which one customer found out the hard way when she walked into her freshly carpeted kitchen. And a Borders woman is aiming to break a world record for shearing the highest number of sheep in one day. Una Cameron is aiming to beat the current fleece trimming record of 458, but said it does get repetitive asking the sheep whether they've got any holiday plans. Right, you met the panellists. Let's crack on with round one. This is the Broken News round, where our teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. So, Jay and Andrew, can you tell me what this is all about?
1,500 metres final at the Paris Olympics saw
almost 150,000 pupils across Scotland
stun the crowd to win gold.
Graham Day is the Minister for Higher and Further Education.
He came in 10th in what was an incredibly tight field.
A busy old week, wasn't it? What do you think the first story might be, Jay?
I think that we are talking about the Olympics. It's week 2. The Olympics, it's coincided with the Fringe, two very different events. One's an international event where a bunch of chemically enhanced individuals battle in a vicious competition for global supremacy, and the other one is the Olympics.
Definitely the right answer. Thank you, Jay. Well done. Yes, the Olympics continue this week with dramatic moments on and off the field of play. Edinburgh-born Josh Kerr achieved silver in the 1,500 metres final after being pipped by USA's Cole Hawker in a new Olympic record, and Keely Hodgkinson raced to victory in the women's 800 metres final, bringing home the gold. Away from sport, there's been criticism of the food and drink for both athletes and spectators. Plus, French pole vaulter Anthony Ammirati caused a stir after he knocked the bar off with his bulging groin. That's the cleanest way I can say that phrase. The athlete was disappointed to miss out on a medal, but delighted to be made brand ambassador for Le Coq Sportif.
It seems kind of like bad planning, because if your thing is that big, then maybe don't try and jump over delicately balanced bars lying in a lying down position. It's why large-breasted women don't play snooker.
Melanie, I'll bring you in. Obviously, it seems like everyone's watching the Olympics. Are you enjoying the Olympics this year?
Oh, I'm loving it. I love that it's in France. I've been getting into the French spirit. I've been eating at Pret a Manger every day, getting right into that French cuisine. But I always tune in and I'll watch something that I think is the most spectacular thing I've ever seen. I'll see someone do like a triple flip into a pool, and then you hear the judges going, he'll be disappointed with that. Oh, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, it's amazing.
What I don't understand was like the high board diving is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
But what really stuns me is that they managed to do that without shouting, "Way!" You're going off a 10-metre board.
I'd love to see like the Chinese, like the synchronized diving team get to the edge of the board, and then someone go, "Whoa, whoa, we're gonna have to stop. The flumes are coming out for the bears."
A danger to the Olympics. Connor, what are you thinking then? Are you enjoying the Olympics?
I have been enjoying it. It has been quite difficult as someone with not a completely athletic body. It's hard to watch that every day. Because I was watching it, we were watching the swimming, and my fiance pointed at one of the swimmers and she went, look at him. What a build. And I was like, that's really unfair. You know what I mean? I'm sitting right there in my trunks.
Did you see the shooting guy? He was amazing.
From
Did you see-
Turkey?
Yeah, the Turkish shooting guy. Everybody else turned up and they've all got like their pristine outfits on and their goggles and their wee ear protectors. And then this guy from Turkey just turned up with like proper, she's turned the wife against his energy. And he goes away with silver. And it was just amazing because, like, at the end, he was going, like, he directly looked at the camera and asked his wife to give him his dog back.
Just before the London Olympics, I was actually on a plane flying into London with the Team GB's rowing team, right? And they absolutely trounced everybody else at that Olympics, loads and loads of medals. And I was actually sat with Team GB rowing team, and they're all bloody big posh guys. Right, and as we landed into Heathrow, this is so great, this is the poshest thing ever. There was actually, they burnished the Olympic rings into this field that you see just before you touch down into Heathrow. And the pilot comes on and he's, you know, that posh Edinburgh voice, hello ladies, is that BA pilot? Or welcome Team GB on board. If you look out the right side of the plane, you'll see the Olympic rings, right? And I was sat in the window seat, and this guy, who turned out a week later, I saw him get a gold medal. He leans over and he's looking at it, and the whole time he's looking at the rings in the grass. He never takes his eyes off them. And the minute we touched down in London, under his breath, he just said to himself, game on.
Jay and Andrew, you get 2 points for that. It was the latest from the second week of the Paris Olympics. Connor and Melanie, what was the other story we were after?
I think it's the story about Scottish students getting their exam results back this week.
Bang on, yeah, that is the right answer. Well done, Connor. Yes, pupils have received exam results for nationals, hires and advanced hires this week. The country's exam body said the results were solid, even though fewer got top marks than last year. In a tense moment, thousands had the results delayed after initially receiving blank emails. Maths results have dropped since last year. The number of students achieving the higher levels in the subject fell by 5.8%, which is very nearly half. Sticking at school, kids. What about you, Melanie? We're talking about the exam results here in Scotland. Were you nervous on exam results day?
Yeah, I was nervous, but it's interesting that kids are now getting the results via text. And you should know that there are much worse results that you could get via text. So you don't need to worry about it. If you're getting C, C, D, it's much better than HPV. So.
Hey, Andrew, we're talking exam results. Were you nervous on your exam results day?
No, I knew I was going to do badly. That's how you get through the anxiety of the situation. I was terrible in school.
Really?
Awful.
But, you know, you're so eloquent. You're so erudite.
Yeah, in small doses. But I made up for it. Because I was an absolute disappointment in school. But I made up for it because I went on as a grown-up to win Celebrity Mastermind. Yeah.
Let's just say we've got the captive audience of Scottish students listening to us right now. What would be your advice for Scottish students?
Apply for Love Island. You know, that's another avenue now.
Study theology. It's very low points, and within 5 years, you could be the moderator of the Church of Scotland. That's a hell of a gig. I tell you what, there's some beautiful manses around this country. You want your kids to grow up in a manse? And I tell you, there's not an unlovely manse in the land.
You're right.
Just think about that. Nobody's ever going to ask you whether you believe in God or not. It's the Church of Scotland.
Connor Burns, what advice do you have for Scottish students?
For Scottish students, if you're going to go to uni in Scotland, like, you know, one of the big ones, Edinburgh or St Andrews or something, I'd say work on your ability to keep your patience, because you're going to be surrounded by incredibly rich kids whose families live in Tunbridge Wells and will say things to you like, "Rah, so you really like Buckfast, yeah?" And it's going to be really hard for you to punch those people in the face. But unfortunately, all of their family are High Court judges, so don't.
Show restraint. Wise words there. Jay, what about you? What would be your advice for Scottish students?
I'm going to be a wee bit serious here because, first of all, can I just say to any students out there who didn't get the results that they wanted, don't be too downhearted because it doesn't define the rest of your life. Look at Connor. Connor thought passing a higher was when you said no to a second spliff. And look at where he is now. He's on the side of a bus.
I know, I am.
He is riding that bus, but...
And right next to my picture, it says, you too could be part of the Lothian bus team.
Yes, well done, Connor and Melanie. You get 2 points for that. It was the mashup of the latest from the Olympics and also the latest Scottish exam results. And at the end of that round, well done, the teams are all square. Now, much of our news is about public opinion, so to find out what stories people are talking about, we spoke to two friends of the show, Scottish comedy legend Raymond Mearns and Scots poet and author Len Penny. So, Connor and Melanie, what do you think Len is on about here?
This story could be good or bad depending on your level of comfort with the situation itself. For me, I am incredibly afraid of visiting this person, so changing the situation at all just makes me more anxious.
Melanie, I'll give you a go at this one. Great description from Len about something in this week's news. What do we think Len was talking about there, Melanie?
Worried about visiting this person. Is it, I don't know,
This is the first procedure performed by a robot dentist.
Brilliant.
Actually.
Well done.
That's from both of us.
As, of course, the story that a robot has completed a fully automated dental procedure on a human. It is a world first. The technology features a robotic arm along with artificial intelligence and 3D imaging for performing dental work. The US-based company Perceptive says its technology aims to be more accurate and faster in completing procedures, including fillings and crowns. And it's thought that one day robots could replace every NHS dentist in Scotland, especially once they both retire. So well done in getting the right answer. Would you trust a robot dentist?
I think there's a good use for the robot dentist because you know the bomb disposal robots that they drive them into places that are too dangerous for humans to go. Why don't we drive the robot dentist into the riots? All right, because I'm seeing a lot of videos. I'm not seeing a lot of teeth. All right. I think we could sort that out.
Sorting the world out. One robot at a time. Well done, Connor. Would you trust a robot dentist, Andrew Maxwell?
Well, if it steals me codeine, then fine.
We've got a real shortage at the moment. I would trust a squirrel with a toffee hammer as it goes. It's really hard to get your teeth seen.
We're looking at robot dentists, Connor, but in what other areas of medicine might robots be useful?
See, I think because some hospital visits are a bit more embarrassing than others. You don't necessarily want to talk to a human, you know. So if you have to go down to the sexual health clinic, right? You know, Des, I've seen you down there. In the waiting room, you go in and see a sexual health robot doctor. You don't have to tell a person. And I've already came up with a name for it. We could call it Will E.
I'll come to you now, Jay. And what other areas of medicine might robots be useful? Jay?
I'm thinking vasectomies. That's the litmus test for me, vasectomies. When a man is happy to allow a robot to do his vasectomy, then I will consider allowing a robot to brush my teeth.
If you can get that benchmark, then we're good to go. How would you improve the experience of the dentist? Melanie?
I think it would be good if we could just find a toothpaste that 10 out of 10 dentists recommend.
We got the right answer there. Well done. We're talking about the first ever robot dentist. Stepping into a robot dentist waiting room will now feel like we're living in the year 3000 until a copy of The People's Friend sends you right back to 1986. Yes, the world's first robot dentist is the right answer. Well done, Connor and Melanie. Jay and Andrew, it's your turn now. What do you think our Raymond is talking about here?
I definitely agree with this. Absolutely. It would be like at the football. You know, everybody gives a round of applause now instead of standing and being silent. I would pre-record a video and then give absolutely everybody their character. And only then would they go for a steak pie and everybody gets steaming.
I think he's talking about the circle of life. Nobody lives forever.
You're right.
And you know, at some point, you've got to look yourself in the mirror and go, what am I going to leave behind for other people? You know?
Is, in an ethereal way, the right answer. Andrew, well done. This is a story that traditional sombre funerals in religious settings are increasingly being replaced by celebrations of life, with personal touches held at more unusual occasions, according to a new study. Doctor Who-themed farewells, glittery coffins and mourners dressed in football shirts are amongst requests. Yes, Doctor Who-themed funerals are especially stressful. You put one guy into the coffin, then a different one climbs back out. Are you surprised to hear this, that there's a shift away from that traditional funeral?
No. Sometimes death is necessary. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for, you know, Scottish audiences being really tough and loads of people dying every year at the Fringe, there'd be too many comedians.
You make a fair point, actually.
Yeah, I mean.
Jay, what about you? Are you surprised to hear there's a shift away from the traditional funeral?
No, a friend of mine recently had one of these live-in funerals. She had like a big party. She invited everybody to come and celebrate with her while she was still alive. And it was really kind of beautiful. I mean, she didn't call it a live-in funeral. She called it her 40th birthday party. But... Same thing.
We knew. Melanie, what about you? There we go, that's the news this week. Are you surprised at the shift away from the traditional funeral?
Yeah, I kind of like that they're reframing it, you know? Like, it's not a cremation, it's a bonfire. Get the marshmallows out, you know?
Like, there's a funeral director place not long along the road from my flat that does all the kind of really trendy new ones, and they've got a coffin in the window that's a big can of Iron Brew. Right? And I was like, that's a great idea, but then I'd be worried that a couple of years after you're buried, Jamie Oliver would come along and take half the sugar out of you.
Andrew, what about you? It might be morbid to think about it, but have you had a chance to think about how you want to go? Could you see yourself being the guy at the Fringe that goes finally on stage?
What, just carks it on stage?
Yeah.
Closing the late show. You're already in a cave.
3 days later.
I done a gig the other night during the Fringe called Comedy in the Dark. That would be a tough place to go, eh? 10 minutes of silence, someone just has to put a light on and go, oh, Christ, he's away. Oh.
So incredibly terminal.
Comedy in the Dark. Didn't the Comedy in the Dark get cancelled during the power cut? Why?
Melanie, how would you want to go?
Probably just an interaction with a robot dentist. I haven't really thought much about how I want to go, but I don't want my funeral to be one of these celebrations of life. You don't want to die and people to be celebrating it. But I do think
I'd like to... You want mourning and wailing? Then?
Yeah, I want mourning and wailing. I also want to increase my visitations to my gravestone, so I'm going to install Wi-Fi on it.
Yes, more people putting the fun in funerals is the right answer, and 2 points goes to Jay and Andrew. You're listening to Breaking the News from BBC Radio Scotland with me, Des Clark. Now, this round is all about who's in the news. I will play you a clip of a mystery person. All you have to do is tell me who it is. So, Jay and Andrew, you're up first this time. Who is this?
Just an observation of mine that I made. I just have to say it. You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy and, yes, just weird as hell.
Tim Walz, the new VP kind of runner alongside Kamala.
That's a great shout. Well spotted, Jay. That's the right answer. The US Vice President Kamala Harris has announced the Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, to be her running mate for November's presidential election. Mr. Walz is a former teacher who's made an impact on social media in recent months. Donald Trump, of course, also running in the election, has branded Mr. Walz as a dangerously liberal extremist.
He was the first person, and I don't know why any of us didn't say this before, but he was the first person to be like, Trump and Vance are weird, eh? Like, it was so obvious. Like, we're all going, aye, they are weird. They're so weird. Like, what is Trump's thing about Hannibal Lecter? It's weird.
What do you make of Kamala's choice? Melanie?
Apparently she had like 10 white guys to choose from, which is how I feel when I'm scrolling Apple Podcasts. So that's always nice. But I do find it funny that they're like, we're going to elect this woman of colour as the president, but she needs to have this white guy to get everyone's support. It would be like if we had the Beyonce concert, and to open for her, we had to have Phil Collins just to get the dads in the crowd on board. Like, it's crazy.
To be honest, the best part of the whole election, it's RFK Jr. I mean, the level of bonkers. The fact that this week in an interview with Roseanne Barr, right, and she's not the full shilling either. Out of the blue, he goes, I was hunting with the falcon and I saw somebody ran over a baby bear. A bear cub got run over. They kept driving, but I stopped and I collected the dead bear because I was going to skin the bear and eat the bear. Then I had a scheduling issue. So I decided to dump the dead bear in Central Park. He dumps the dead bear in the middle of New York City. He dumps a bear and he goes, I didn't want people to think it was weird. Right? Now it gets weirder. So I got an old bicycle and I left it beside the corpse of the bear. So people would think the bear died in a bicycle accident.
To be fair, though, his main policy is that under his government, no picnic baskets will be stolen.
Hard line in that, isn't it? Let's get the thoughts of Connor right now. We're talking about the US elections. What have you made of the US election campaign so far?
Oh, I thought, it was kind of low, dirty tactics from Trump when he called Kamala's race into question. He was like, is she Indian? Is she black? And I was like, well, really, we should turn that, because for years we've been trying to figure out exactly what colour on the Ronseal chart he is. There's been a lot of people who are saying Harvest Gold. I'm more of a deep mahogany man myself, but...
He is a lovely shade of orange, though. I think it's called Nidri Binfire.
Yes, 2 points go to Jay and Andrew. That was Tim Walls. OK, Connor and Melanie, it's your turn now. Who is this and why are they in the news?
I'm not embarrassed. I'm definitely frustrated. Am I proud to have got there?
Melanie.
I do know this one.
What a moment this would be if you could get this right.
Oh, my God. It's Liz Truss.
It's the right answer! Well done, Melanie. Yes, Liz Truss has been heckled and booed after appearing at this year's Edinburgh Fringe Festival. The ex-MP and Prime Minister walked on stage to a mix of cheers and boos from the audience, where she then went on to defend her mini-budget and blame others for her downfall. Obviously, Liz Truss and the Fringe have a lot in common. They both cripple you financially and last about a month.
Yeah.
Well done, Melanie. You gave us the right answer. Were you surprised then to see former Prime Minister Liz Truss at the festival?
Yeah, it's interesting. And she got heckled and she did walk off halfway through. That's not like her not to finish the job. But,
honestly, Liz Truss, she was the Prime Minister,
I know.
She was in charge of the nuclear submarine fleet. Liz Truss. Liz Truss is the sort of stupid neighbour that not only puts the wrong bin out, puts the wrong bin out first and brings the whole road down with them.
Liz Truss was, of course, booed and jeered and heckled at her first Fringe show. So, we're asking the question, what is your most memorable interaction that you've had with an audience? And Melanie, I'm going to start with you.
I've really enjoyed being here and doing my show. I talk a little bit about netball. I love the game of netball, and I've been asking people in the crowd who plays netball. I asked a woman, and she said her name, and I said, what's your position? And she said, I'm an admin consultant for a construction company.
Connor Burns, what is your most memorable interaction that you've had with an audience?
My first Fringe doing my own show was 2019. My venue was a tent in the middle of a beer garden. It was awful. But one night I needed a pick-me-up and I had 4 Geordie guys in the audience and they loved it. And at the end of the show they gave me a compliment I still carry to this day. In their Geordie accent they went, mate, you're the best thing we've seen all festival and we've seen Omid Jalili. I still think of it.
Just what you needed, wasn't it? I love that. Jay, what is your most memorable interaction that you've had with an audience?
So I did a kids' theatre show, and my little boy was just over a year old, and we thought, oh, that would be nice. We'll bring him in and he can watch the show. And so he was sat in the front row, and it was a Saturday. It was really busy. It was all going well. And I did a bit of clowning at the start, and I had a horn in my back pocket, and I kept bending over, and it was like, yeah, and the kids were all laughing. At which point, my son, who looked the most mortified an 18-month-old child could look, just leant in and said to me, "Mama, what is you doing?"
Boom.
1 star. 1 star.
Mic drop. Former Prime Minister Liz Truss is, of course, the right answer, and 2 points go to Connor and Melanie. And it's time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. I will read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
I want you to do this with me.
That's Vice President Kamala Harris there leading a Zumba class. OK, let's go. Fingers on buzzers, teams. What has tripled in recent years? Melanie.
My nipple hairs. Sorry.
Let's go for it. Let's see if there's any more for any more. What has tripled in recent years? Jay.
The size of Keir Starmer's quiff. Getting bigger.
Getting bigger and bigger, isn't it? What has tripled in recent years? Andrew.
The number of somersaults.
What has tripled in recent years? Connor.
Is it the number of Google search results for pole vaulting highlights?
A brilliant Olympic-style answer, but not quite what we're looking for. I can give you the answer. What we're looking for, what has tripled in recent years, it's the price of accommodation at the Edinburgh Fringe.
I want you to do this with me.
Oh, there we are. That's the klaxon. Kamala has Harris. It means it's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Connor Burns and Melanie Bracewell. Commiserations to Jay Lafferty and Andrew Maxwell. And we'll leave you with the breaking the news. Breaking news just in. A woman from Ayr is celebrating after finding a 1 in a billion completely spherical egg in her weekly shop. She was hoping to get upwards of £400 for it at auction until somebody pointed out that it wasn't so round once you pulled off the breadcrumbs and sausage meat. More than $1 million of cocaine has washed up on a beach in the Florida Keys during the recent Storm Debbie. Local police sent sniffer dogs to identify the consignment, and it was verified as cocaine when all the dogs went on to get jobs in advertising. And the comedian Chris McCausland will be the first blind contestant to appear in Strictly Come Dancing. Luckily for Chris, the phrase, "I didn't see anything," is already a favourite amongst Strictly producers. The news is broken. I've been Des Clark. Goodbye!